like
Yeah.
trying to struggle.
Yeah, I cleaned up yesterday and I was just like, okay, this is good. And I'm sure in 2 days it's gonna be the same again.
Okay.
In the middle of these 2 points, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying
Real
to struggle.
life. I
Yeah,
realized,
I
or
cleaned
is
up
it just
yesterday and I was just like, okay, this is good. And I'm sure in 2 days it's gonna be the same again.
I'm hearing some echoes.
yeah, we're hearing the live stream as well.
Oh, you're hearing there. Oh, I know why. Yeah. Can you hear it
Is it the
now?
connection?
No,
No, it was because it was live on YouTube. I just started like right now at this second, so that's why.
Oh,
Okay.
so we're
Now
live.
we're live. We're good. Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Hello. Good day.
Okay, so share
Yeah,
the link with
it works.
everyone.
Yay. Finally.
Maria is frozen. No, she's not frozen anymore. Okay.
We keep freezing, unfreezing, doing our thing.
How you doing, Lucas?
I'm doing good, trying to keep my sanity. I cooked yesterday. I was like, going to the supermarket is like one of the most exciting things in my day.
Yeah, exactly.
I get to get out and like have a reason and not get like get talked to by the police and be like, I don't have a reason to be outside. And then
Yeah,
just
what a shot of adrenaline, you know, going
Yeah,
shopping at a
like,
supermarket. I was like,
God,
wow.
I'm living the life, guys. I'm living the life. And then I just like go out and like I feel like I only buy stuff for one day at a time, so I get to go out more.
Feels really weird.
Yeah, but I cooked yesterday and it was very nice.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm trying, but my
don't
attempts
cook?
are resulting into failures.
Oh, no, but keep going.
I'm
I
not a
love
great cook.
cooking.
And actually, my flatmate isn't a great cook too, so
You
we're
too
screwed.
No, I
happen.
love cooking. It's like one of the best things in the world because I can like turn my brain off for half an hour and just do something and not feel guilty afterwards because I did something productive and healthy for myself. So it's just like, it's perfect.
We should go and live together so that you can cook for me and I can
Yeah.
do the cleaning or something.
No, I don't cook for you. I teach you cooking and then we can like.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be cool. And you can teach me to work out more.
All right. It's a deal.
Mm-hmm. I see that. If you have a production in Germany, we just like do that. Or if
I
they
can
have
see that happening.
I can see that happen too. It's like, and when we hold like Marcin, that's and Hendrik, and we're just the craziest gang ever.
Exactly. I like that.
I like that too.
Okay.
So, girls.
Yeah, we're live now. So I just shared the link on Instagram and on Twitter. Okay, so Aurelia, do you have the live reactions?
Yeah, I do. People say
Okay.
hi. There's a lot of
Hi.
things in Italian that I don't understand.
Okay.
So yeah, but like mostly like people are saying hi and stuff.
So me and Rocco, we
back.
can't see
Someone
the chat.
say they just stopped watching Money.
You can if
Lucas.
you're on your computer and that you put the YouTube link on your phone, you'll be able to see also the reactions live. But if you don't have your device, you won't.
Can you say that again?
So if you have two different devices, you'll be able to see the reactions live, so that you'll have.
Well, luckily I have two different devices.
Well,
Okay, I
I'll
can
send you the link.
get my PC. Then I'm gonna be gone for a
Get
second.
your second device.
Okay. So here's the link.
You sent me the link on Instagram?
Yeah, I sent it to you on Instagram.
Okay, so. And what do I have to do with this link?
You just click on it and you will see the people's reaction.
Okay, that's right. Paste. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't see you anymore.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Now we're
You
good.
can see me now, right?
You. Yeah.
Okay, wait a sec.
My PC needs some time. He's very old. He's trying his best.
So Andre is saying, can you say to them that they look amazing? So I'm telling
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
My
That's
hair is
very
a little bit too long. I'm considering like shaving it all, but
That's
to
why
avoid
like everyone
sweeping
is
furniture
like,
while I sleep.
like.
There are a lot of
Oh,
things
this
in
is cool.
Italian. So are you able to see Rocco?
Yes, I'm seeing the YouTube live too.
So do you have the comments?
No, I can see just the four of us.
You can like open the chat
there's
on the
not like
side.
a chat.
The chat. I'm an oldie, guys. You have to understand and be patient. Oh yes, I can see the comments now. Yes.
Okay.
Is it on the Remit YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually sent you the link on Instagram.
Yeah, but I can't like open Instagram on my. I think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
easier
right.
to just put it in my YouTube, and then I hopefully will be
Oh,
taken
let me-
there.
I don't know.
I'm reading some comments. Okay. Are you girls in Paris or America or?
Yeah, I came back the day they closed the borders. I came back that day, so I can be here because I was like,
Wow.
you know, this is a bigger apartment, so I stay in Paris.
You can breathe more.
Yeah, and Maria, where are you?
I'm in Thailand.
You're in Thailand?
Yeah.
You're doing your quarantine there?
Yeah, I'm actually stuck here. Like the last plane that was going back to Paris was today.
Oh.
But we decided not to take it because we think that it's safer here and also better than in Paris.
Well,
so.
sounds sweet.
Someone's saying Lukas is drinking so much water, hydrated king.
I haven't drank
That's
water
good.
yet today,
Hydration.
so I guess hydration important, guys. Drink water, take care of yourself, especially in those times as we have right now. Self-love is right where it's supposed to be.
Self-love is pretty much what we get right now.
Yeah, and it can be very beautiful. You just have to keep believing in yourself. Why the hell?
So we also had like people asking questions on Twitter, so we can read you some, then you guys can answer.
Yeah.
So
and also actually to the people who are watching, let us know if you need us to translate in French. Si vous comprenez pas en anglais et que vous avez besoin que je traduise en français, dites-le moi dans les commentaires.
Parfait.
Parfait.
So someone asked if you guys have done anything exciting with self-isolating.
Oh. Lukas, you want to start?
It's very hard to find exciting stuff while self-isolating, but well, what did I do exciting? I cleaned up my apartment, which was exciting for me because
So exciting.
I have time to do that. But yeah, I do a lot more cooking. That's exciting to me. Like I get to experiment a little bit more, have more time to do that. But apart from that, it's been pretty shallow, if you may say so.
Pretty much the same. There is one thing exciting that I've discovered about, quarantine, which is that you can actually work out without going to the gym and you can do it well. And I didn't know about that because, we tend to be so lazy sometimes. So, you don't really get to be creative and stuff, but self-isolating yourself really forces you to be creative, because otherwise you just lose it and keep losing it and keep losing it, and you know, you gotta be positive and stuff. So this is one positive thing for sure.
I find such a funny feeling, because I feel like I'm bursting with creativity because I have no place to put it, but also I feel so uninspired by everything that it's
Because
just a weird feeling. Yeah,
it's a tricky thing, the mind. I mean, when we are forced to do stuff, like when we are forced to be inside, we are not very that much inspired, you know, because I guess we need stimuli. We need to see things, to talk to people, to, you know, to get back to a normal life, hopefully very soon.
yeah.
But we don't give up.
Positive.
Okay, so
Positive.
just translate for the French people who don't understand. Alors, Lucas, ce qu'il disait, c'est que donc lui, donc la question c'était, est-ce qu'ils ont fait quelque chose d'assez excitant en étant en quarantaine? Et du coup, donc Lucas a dit qu'il avait rangé son appartement et qu'il est très fier de ça, et aussi qu'il avait pu cuisiner beaucoup plus. Et Rocco, lui, disait justement qu'il a trouvé plein de moyens créatifs de faire du sport. Parce que du coup, en temps normal, on est hyper assez fainéant et tout, et il s'est rendu compte en fait qu'on peut faire du sport sans devoir aller à la salle de sport. Et donc ensuite, Lucas a parlé de la créativité. Il a dit que c'était un peu paradoxal parce qu'il avait beaucoup de créativité, vu qu'il y avait un peu rien d'autre à faire, mais qu'en même temps, c'est assez compliqué d'être créatif dans un contexte comme ça. Et voilà.
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 What she said.
Someone asked, what is your best professional experience you had?
SKAM. So far.
Will you elaborate on that? No.
Well, guys, to elaborate on that, it would take like 3.5 hours, but I will do my best. No, I mean, of course, it's been SKAM Italia for so many reasons, because it changed my perception about so many things, and like, you know, portraying this character. I mean, so far it's been the most interesting character I've portrayed, because, you know, you don't get to play so many peculiar colors every day, you know, so somehow it changes you. If you're a sensitive person, it truly changes you. So I'm very grateful. And of course, all the practical stuff and you know, the popularity that came with it, and all of it. I mean, there's nothing I've done before this that is comparable from many points of view. So I'm very grateful, very grateful, and I feel extremely lucky.
Yeah, I think I must agree. Like, DRUCK was the most exciting professional experience I've had so far. It's definitely been a whirlwind of changes that came with it. The people are just so nice on our set, and playing the character was very cool, because it was very much the biggest character study I did so far, apart from theater. So I really did a lot of work behind the scenes, making this character come alive and having him be something special, and being able to work on the script a bit with the writers was such a cool experience that really like also helped me push in the direction of saying I really want to write as well. So for me, it definitely was the coolest professional experience.
Okay, so I'm actually translating live in the comments, so I don't need to.
Wow, you're a superstar.
Damn.
Then someone is asking, what advice would you give your young self?
So many. Oh God. Well, how young are we talking? Is there like teenager, like a year ago, or when we were like 5?
I mean, it's up to you.
Up to me. Okay. Well, maybe for like when I was a teenager, maybe don't think you know everything, because I was really sure that I knew everything, and now I'm at a point where I think, oh, I know nothing. So yeah,
That's
maybe
true.
yeah, like don't think you know exactly everything and nobody understands you, because sometimes
But
it's
that's
just,
such an important step to make.
yeah, definitely. It has been a process to
Socrates.
think, yeah, but it's hard. Like you feel like nobody understands you, and you understand the world, and then you're like getting older and you understand, oh God, I don't know anything, and but that's all right as well. You don't have to know everything, and you also don't have to like be right about everything. You can also like say, oh, I'm wrong with that, or oh, I didn't know that. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. Always like something.
Absolutely. And it's such a relief too.
Yeah, it's like something I didn't understand when I was younger. I was like, when I tell people that I'm wrong or that they made a mistake, I'm weak, and I show that I'm not strong enough to always be right or something. But it's way stronger to admit that you didn't know something, or that you weren't
Absolutely.
clear. So don't be
Absolutely.
afraid to correct yourself and let yourself be corrected by others and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's about that. And have more fun, like laugh more. It's the life is too like
Yeah.
long to always be sad.
Yeah. I mean, the circumstances, the recent circumstances have proved that for sure. I mean, if I have to tell my my younger self some advice, it would be for sure maybe to stress a little bit less about school, because for some reasons, high school and even before that, I mean, all like school for me was always a little bit stressful because I took it a little bit too seriously. I'm not saying that we don't have to take school seriously, because it's amazing. Education is, you know, the foundations of who we are pretty much, or who we become. So it's important, but I really took it too seriously, and I stressed myself a lot. So yeah, I would tell myself, go out, do something crazy, do something stupid, do something, you know, wrong even, because, you know, when you are a teenager, you need to experience a lot of those stuff. And for some reason, I got to experience that a little bit later, but it's fine.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Someone asked, how did you prepare to play your role mentally, physically, and something else? If you have something else.
So for me, I already knew the original Norwegian SKAM, so it was a lot of work to get away from the character that I knew already from the original to make it my own character. And it should have been easy, I guess, because we didn't have the bipolar storyline, we did the transgender storyline, so it already was different, but still I had to like get away from that image in myself and start to accept that David wasn't going to be the most smug and charming and flirtatious guy ever, because he didn't want that and he didn't feel like that. And the process of that, and also kind of making sure that I wasn't playing myself, because obviously we have similarities, but I just wanted to make sure that I feel as if I am portraying a character that is true to what I think someone like him would feel like, but not just like being myself. And I feel as if I got to achieve that. And we did a lot of workshops and acting, coaching, and stuff like that, especially for building the chemistry between Matteo and David, making them feel like they could actually work together and be a couple. And yeah, I think we are very happy with the results. So yeah,
With
but
reasons.
thank you. It was a very great process. It really was. It was a lot of fun to delve into that. Yeah. How about
Well,
you?
in my case, like Nicola is someone going through borderline personality disorder. So what I did is was doing some research about it. So learning about, you know, how these boys and girls can be hypersensitive very often, and you know, how relationships are quite complicated for them on a everyday basic. So I did research, and afterwards with the director we found a way to convey everything in the fresh, smooth language of SKAM Italia, of course, in particular, because you know it looks easy, but it's not necessarily easy. You know, to make it look effortless somehow, or you know, fresh. So this is what we did, and I was very lucky because our director and showrunner is a great showrunner, and you know, he had also somebody that could read the script before we got to shooting, and somebody you know, work in psychiatry and stuff, somebody who could giving feedbacks, you know. And I was also lucky too, because I got to meet this guy who works with borderline patients, so boys and girls, and he would tell me a lot of interesting stuff about also nonverbal language, and you know, a whole world that opened up to me. And yeah, this is basically what we did. Of course, the performance is always, in my point of view, the outcome of the actor and the director's work combined, because the director's got the bigger view that you as an actor don't get to have. So you have to do your research, you have to do your acting work, you have to do your emotional work and stuff, but then you have to, you know, to let your showrunner and director guide you, because it's got the bigger picture, and it can, you know, put you in the right place and adjust levers here and there.
Definitely. Like before I did DRUCK, I did a lot of theater, so my relationship to scripts was so different than from film. I was able to I learned all my lines from the first 3 episodes, which were the first 3 scripts I got before we even started filming. And the director we had for the first 3 episodes was like, "No, stop that! Don't do that," because he wanted me to let loose and just let it happen and just look what's happening out of just nothing. And it was really great to have him kind of like shake me a little bit and like make me.
And those moments are beautiful. Like I find it so important to, you know, to experience that, to let it go. Also, like improvisation moments, and you know, being in character but out of text. There's a lot of beautiful exercises, and that very often result into, you know, the work, because you do that when you're working too. And yeah, it's very interesting.
Definitely. Yeah. And being confident enough in yourself to improvise, to know that in the moment you're starting to improvise, you're still in character, you're not stopping being them. And that's just a great moment when you feel, oh, I wouldn't have said that, but he said that, and that just feels very cool.
Yeah, it's extremely exciting. I think there's nothing better than that in terms of feelings for me. I mean, it's one of the best feelings in the world when you actually grab that. And at least in my case, it's not something that you do like just automatically. You have to work for it, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. But when you get it, it feels just amazing. There's nothing comparable to that.
It's so true. Yeah, it just
the
feels
whole
like
process.
Right. Yeah,
of getting out of yourself. You know, it's beautiful.
And I mean, I think that's literally like empathy is like a big part of being an actor. Like you empathize with a character that is not you, and just being able to empathize so much that you actually feel engulfed in them. That's just acting right there.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more with you, because I think really empathy is really the key, I think, to acting. Because if you're not empathic, if you're not sympathetic about things, if you cannot put yourself in other people's shoes and feel what they feel, if you don't learn how to stop judgment, you know, how to stop prejudice, how can you be somebody else? You know, how can you be somebody else? Because very often we could automatically and unconsciously like stop some behaviors, or not being able to do certain things because we unconsciously judge them, or because we unconsciously can't put ourselves in that place. So I think that one of the first like important trainings that any actor should do is really learning how to be compassionate, and really how to deal with how to learn empathy, because that's just the key to the work, to our job. I think it's really important.
Yeah, period. I have nothing to add to that. That's just, yeah, right there.
Okay, so the next question is a question that you've kind of already answered, Lucas.
Okay, sorry.
Did you watch the third season of SKAM, the original version, before you started filming for your remake? Why did you watch it, or why didn't you watch it? Didn't.
Well, I watched it when it came out, but I watched it like on YouTube in a weird clip version because I was like, I just discovered it. I think, did I rewatch it before we started filming? I think I purposely didn't, because I knew that I needed to get away from just trying to be Evan. But I did watch your season, Rocco, because I think it came out while we were filming, and I watched it, and I was like,
Did
oh
you
my
like
God.
it?
Yeah, I liked it, but I was so scary. So I'm like, oh my God, they're like so good. And we are doing
I
this like
watched
angsty-
parts of your performance, and you are a terrific actor, and I have to say that out loud. You're a terrific
Thank
actor.
you so much.
You and also Matteo.
Yeah, Michelangelo is a powerhouse. Yeah, he really like, we pushed each other very much, and it was great. But it was like, it felt so different, kind of like, just with your performance. I was like, oh my God, this is like so lovely. I'm like, oh my God. And then we were like filming hours, and it was so angsty. It was like all the time like, ugh. It's like, is this good? Is this good? But yeah, it was very cool to like experience that, watching your guys' season, and then SKAM France came out, and I was like, oh my God, just
It's
gonna
so
give up.
weird. Yeah, it's extremely weird. You don't get to experience that every day as an actor, you know. The
Yeah.
whole remake thing, because you actually can see very often a variation of the same bone structure. So many variations. It's like, you know, variations on a theme. It's
Right.
beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
to see how much complexity can be drawn out of a character, out of a story.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I think it's amazing.
And I think you can really see how a director affects a project, because you can see how the different directors and the different writers just make the seasons feel different, even though it has the same bone structure. So it's just
absolutely
a very, very interesting process, and something, as you said, you don't get to see that often. It's very
so
cool.
true.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody was calling me. In my case, and it's still family. In my case, I watched like half of season 3 of SKAM before getting to to shoot, and I remember that I was curious, of course, because when I got the news that I got the part and stuff, I didn't know SKAM. So I wanted to know what I was going what I was going to face, in terms of narrative, at the very least, so I started watching it, and I watched the first 2 seasons, and then I watched half of season 3, if I remember correctly, and then I didn't watch the rest until I finished the shooting, because we wanted to I didn't want to do somebody else work, which was beautifully done. I just wanted to do my work, so I had to find my colors, my key, my way of portraying the character. And to be honest, the character was already quite different, because not only because of the borderline personality disorder, which is slightly different from the bipolar disorder, but because the story is in the page, and you need to stick to the page, and to trust the page, and to trust your director. And and keep going and doing your own work, which is personal and different from any others, because otherwise it doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
It's not an emulation, but it's something else.
Yeah, I think the remake did a really good job in not copying.
Absolutely. It's like, and it's not that granted, you know, because usually, you know,
it can be different.
It can be different.
Yeah.
And have you watched the other remakes?
I did
France.
In France.
France and part of Germany. I still have to watch it nicely and carefully.
No pressure. No, I watched some of SKAM France, some of SKAM Italia, and I saw some clips of España. I think, yeah. And one person at a convention showed me a clip of What the Fuck. But yeah, I have to. Yeah,
which
I
is
didn't.
The Belgium version, right?
Yeah. Right.
Do you think there is more pressure in like being like a lot of remakes and making another one than just doing something original?
Well, at the beginning, for sure, there was pressure because, you know,
you guys were the first people, right?
I was, yeah. That was actually quite scary. You know, it was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
But you know, I just, as I said before, I just trusted my showrunner and I did my job. There's no other way to face these situations, you know. I mean, you just do it. You just get to do it without worrying too much about what people could think or what people could understand or whatever. You just do it as well as you can, and then you hope that people are gonna react nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I think we changed some stuff up, and some people were happy about it, some weren't, and I think that we just had to deal with what we were given or do our thing with it. Of course, it's a unique situation because normally you don't get to compare as much as you do in this situation where it's like so many different versions of a same original story. But in the end of the day, you can just do your own thing. And as we said already and established that like directors do different approaches, writers do different approaches with it, as well as actors do. And you just have to make your own thing out of it. I think I can imagine how it must have been for like, I don't know, some of the original cast, just seeing so many different remakes do their story. It
must be alienating.
Yeah, like they're like, what's happening? Why am I copied so many times in like different ways? How do people play my character? This is so weird. Yeah.
But the good thing about the remakes and the whole SKAM world, I think, is that the story is very much applicable to every different culture, you know, and that's so beautiful because every culture is different. You know, the Italian situation is different from the German situation, and especially because it deals with so many like delicate topics such as mental illness and sexuality and, you know, abuse and whatever. It really, you know, it really translates very smoothly in every culture it gets to. So, you know, it's very good material, and when you have good material, I don't think you have to worry too much. You know, you just have to do your job well. That's for sure.
And it doesn't lose importance. It's not, they weren't remakes just to make remakes, like to make more money or stuff like that. It was to make those characters and those stories in different environments, as you said, different cultures, and just show how they work around it and bring those representations that SKAM has to different countries. And so I never felt like
somehow is a sociological experiment, you know, because I don't think something like this has been done before to such a scale, you know,
right?
Like
the extent is very,
this kind of story translated in, what is it, like 7 different countries, and getting all of this, you know, echo and people appreciating it and keeping appreciating it, I don't think has ever been done before. So I feel really lucky, and it's beautiful to be part of it.
Definitely.
Someone asked, who inspires you the most and why?
I think like at first I was like, I know, but I don't know anybody. Like I don't have a role model like in acting or something like that. But then who came from was my mother. I just think because she's a very, very strong woman, and she did everything she could for her children, and she's just
Oh,
I look up to her very much. So I think
that's
she
so
would
sweet.
be my role model. But in the industry, I never felt as if like I never looked up to someone when I was a child and said, "Oh, this is who I want to be," because I never saw myself in anyone in the media so far. So while the time went on, I just kind of developed my own thing and said, I want to be just that. And yeah, and I did feel like when I filmed season 3 that I kind of did it for me when I was younger, because when I was younger, I would have wished to see a performance or a character like that on screen, or I think it would have empowered me. So that's kind of like I tried to be a role model for my younger self now.
That's amazing, and I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
To be honest, I kind of felt the same way in terms of there is nobody I want to become, because that doesn't make sense. I mean, if I have something to to say to the world, that's gonna be my own thing, you know, because that's how it works. But of course, you have somebody who, you know, somebody you admire a lot. Like in my case, like I've always had a profound admiration for an actress, which who is actually a French actress. She is Eva Green, and I think there is. I mean, she really represents a lot for me. Like in terms of the way she acts and the roles that she picks up. It's just amazing. There's nothing and nobody comparable for me. And yeah, that would be the actress I would admire the most.
Yeah. I think we have some mirroring going on. I think someone has the video on.
Yes,
I
I can hear something.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if it's mine. No, I don't know.
mine
Nice to hear.
is
Yeah, it's still going on.
You can hear it?
yeah.
I cannot hear it.
Like Lucas has an echo, and I get an echo too. Yeah.
Try cutting your microphone, Aurelia. Okay, do you still hear something now?
Wait, no.
Okay,
No.
it must be her. Okay, it's probably
It's gone.
you.
Okay, maybe you can
Hey,
find
lives are not easy, okay?
it. It's a
Okay,
hard word.
the next question is, what was the hardest scene to shoot?
You want to start?
I want to start. All right. As I said before, like, you know, the thing about SKAM scenes is that nothing is really easy, even if they kind of look easy. You know, like to reach that level of, you know, spontaneous behavior and fresh language is something that requires work and, you know, like trying and sometimes rehearsals. But for some reasons, I think a scene that I remember being a little bit difficult to shoot was like the scene when I'm cooking that blasphemy pasta, you know, in the I think it was like the second episode. It was a little difficult because the way I learned the scene and rehearsed a little bit, was of course different from the way we shot it, because there were so many things to do at the same time. It was a real choreography, you know. I mean, I needed to remember all the little ingredients and to cook and to do that and this and that and this. So for some reasons, I just it took me a little bit longer. But so this is what I remember being a little bit more difficult than the rest. But in general, it went smoothly enough, because again, I'm lucky enough to have amazing cast members to work with, amazing cast members, and a great showrunner and director. So when you have that, you're just in very good hands, and you can feel free to do whatever you want, and that's just a privilege for any actor, I believe.
Definitely. Yeah, it's so important to have people on set who pick you up if you struggle, because in SKAM, in the story, you struggle a lot sometimes, because you have to really go really deep into yourself.
It's so true.
Yeah, I think in terms of like struggling with a scene, it will probably be first episode when Matteo and David are smoking a joint together, because for me it was still in this transition. Like, we rehearsed that scene a lot, and I think it kind of like broke it, because we were so stuck in what we know we were doing.
Yeah, sometimes you get that. Yeah,
and we just couldn't really let loose. And then the situation was still that I wasn't really sure yet where to. And on that day, I just kind of lost. Okay, am I gonna be like mysterious and whatever, or is he already unsure? And I just didn't get it right away, which was fine, but like it annoyed me. And then we had to like smoke these fake joints, and
yeah,
they are fake joints, so no thing, but like
awful
still
fake joints.
Yeah, but it still does something to you. At least it did for me. And because we struggled with the scene, like, and the joint couldn't like burn off, we had to do it so often. And it was like a basement room with no windows. It was like a hot box. And I just, at some point, me and Michelangelo, we just both couldn't think anymore. Like, we didn't know our lines anymore. We were just standing there like, and
totally stoned somehow.
Yeah, like fake stoned, and I just had such a headache, and it was just, I was really, that day wasn't fun. And then I remember I went home to my hotel, and I called my mom, and then I called my dad, and they were both like, "Are you drunk? Like, what's going on?" Like, because I was talking so weirdly, and I have a voice message that I sent to one of my castmates,
like 2 octaves down.
Yeah, because on that night I got sent the next 4 episodes, and I read all of them, and then I like made this really very funny voice message where I was like, I don't know if I don't know what's going on. It was great, but that was like a day where I just it was a little bit problematic to film. But it was fun.
If you both had the chance to get a season about your character, what would you like in the plot?
Well, if we ever get to that point, I would really like to exploit to analyze very well the mental illness thing, like, because for me it had always been like something of great interest even before SKAM. And this is also why when I got the script, and when I got to know that my character would have been like somebody going through mental illness, I was just very excited, because for many reasons I find it very, very interesting. So it would be just the greatest gift ever to be able to analyze that from the protagonist's point of view, which is, of course, you get the whole, you get a possibility to dig and to dig deep into the character and into this kind of topics, which are very often stigmatized or represented in the wrong way. And I guess that would be a very nice occasion to try to make amend for that.
Yeah, I think in a different way, but the same, like being just a little bit more going deeper with it. And also I feel as if sometimes, or at least in the way it has been told so far, like it kind of can feel like the relationship solves everything, which is like not true. So just showing that the character, in this case David, would still struggle with dysphoria and stuff like that, and that couldn't just be erased by having someone there. It could help, but it's just not erased, and that you have good and bad days and stuff like that. I think that would be very cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question is, it's for Lucas. So about the coming out to Matteo scene, did you get the response of the public that you expected? I truly think it was one of the most amazing moments I've ever seen in a show.
Thank you. Was it the reaction I expected when the clip came out? So I watched the clip with two of the DRUCK writers and one other castmate. We watched it together, and it was actually supposed to come out like 8 a.m. something, 8:34 or something, and it came out like 10 a.m. I think, and we were like sitting there waiting there, and I drove with Flixbus from Hamburg to Berlin that night, like 2 a.m. or something. So I was there like at 6. Um, so I spent the whole day in this bus, and I was like super tired and super stressed out before it happened, because I already knew, like some people already knew, but the majority of people who watch DRUCK, like they don't comment or they don't say something. So for them, it would be new information, at least to confirm that actually the character was transgender as well. And then I was just there, and we were waiting and waiting, and then I called one of the producers and was like, "Is the clip not coming out?" They were like, "No, it's moved back." They were like, "Okay," and we were just sitting there, and then it just, I don't know, it started, and I teared up a bit because I was so like, all these pressure just kind of relieved, because people were like speculating so much, and like there were so many discussions about it that I would just wanted to be over with, and I was still scared about it. And then it happened, and I got a lot of positive response, which was very cool. Some people, of course, had their opinions about it, which is fine, and some people can't express them without being insulting and stuff like that, which is, I guess, what people have to do. But in the end of the day, the overall response with the outing scene, and just with him being transgender and how it was handled in the show, was very positive. So I was super glad about that. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I knew what was going to happen on the Friday clip. So I was like, oh, okay, let's see how they're going to take that. But yeah, I was very happy. Very happy.
Someone asked Rocco, what was your reaction when you learned about the renewing of SKAM Italia for 4th season?
Well, I was very happy. I mean, we fought for it quite fiercely because we've always believed in it. Like all of us cast members and all of the people who supported us from the beginning, who I thank deeply, because they never stopped supporting us, and I never lost faith in what we were doing, and we got rewarded. And I was just the happiest person on earth, even because Beatrice, she deserves absolutely the world, and she deserves to her season, you know. So I was very happy.
I was so happy when I heard it. I was like,
yeah, you know, I mean, it couldn't just end there. It couldn't.
No.
So next question is, what kind of roles would you like to play in the future?
You want to start?
Well, it's the same. In my case, I would like to do some psychological thrillers, Like that's something that really ignites me a lot. And also like period drama. I know that like some actors find it some actors find it quite boring, but personally I would love to do some period drama. It's amazing. I think to be able to time travel, it's something that that our job allows. So, and it's one of the very few fields where you can actually time travel. So it's so cool. I would like that.
Yeah, I think doing a period piece would be very cool as well. Just
Right.
with all the costumes and the scenery and just I mean, we can play different characters, so different humans who have lived different lives, but just being in a different time just changes
Yeah,
so much already,
it's
which
amazing. But also
yeah,
like what really interests me is the way people used to move and talk, all the social the social behaviors, how it changed in time. That's something that really interests me a lot, like how people would act in public in the 20s or in the 40s is very different from nowadays. So I would love to you know to work about that.
yeah, that would be very cool. I really would love to do like a musical film or something, like do something with music.
Musicals are so hard.
Yeah, and I just would love to try it, and because like Les Miserables, for example, like those kind of movies who are like with music, but it's still a story, and that would be very cool. I think I would be into that, and I think every actor wants to play a psychopath at some point, just because you have different rules, and you can be different and walk this very small line of being still a human that people can accept as being real and being something so otherworldly that they feel as if you're a psychopath or something that like,
yeah.
and walking that line is such an interesting concept, and it would be such a interesting character study and work to do. So that I think it's a bucket list on nearly everyone who wants to be an actor.
What's your favorite film?
So many.
I hate picking favorites. I can't do it. We're like
Me too.
songs. I'm like favorites, guys. Stop it. um,
I don't know. I would say Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is certainly one of my favorite movies.
which
But
one?
also Charlie and the Chocolate Factories. That really
Which one?
changed.
The one with Johnny Depp?
Yeah, sorry, the Tim Burton one. Yeah, I really love it. I really love it. And also, of course, the Harry Potter saga. That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
And to get a little bit more, well, Lars von Trier, Antichrist. That's a movie that really it's a hard movie, but it really is one of my favorite movies for so many reasons.
Yeah, as I said, I really don't like picking favorites, but I'm just gonna go with the last film that I really enjoyed, which was The Disaster Artist. I watched it recently, and I just really love the whole story that's behind it. And watching the movie, it's about Tommy Wiseau, who was an actor in America who wanted to make his own movie, and it's called The Room. And The Room is just such a tragedy of a movie, but so good in a way. And The Disaster Artist is just a movie about that and how the room came to be, and it's just it related to me a lot as an actor, like knowing the feelings and the characters are going through, and just it was a very good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so the next question is, what is the thing you miss the most from your ordinary life?
My friends, seeing my friends, just friends and family, just getting out in the sun, in the park, in a club, whatever, like social life. I really miss social life a lot. I really miss that.
This is like because of the quarantine, right? That's the ordinary life, right? Okay. working. I really miss working.
Yeah.
Like I have the privilege to love my job, and to not be able to do it is just very frustrating, especially if you like you go to through a lot of castings, and you go there and you try to do everything to get the part, and then you get the part and you're like excited, and then you wait for
That's
months
our life.
to come. Like that's just how we live, and that's just so amazing. But then you like wait and wait and wait, and then you have the character, you have the part, and then you know, okay, in 2 months I'm going to be filming this. I'm so excited. I'm already like looking through the script, or I'm like talking to so many people, to the director, and then it's just
Just
like,
nothing
yeah, it's not
comparable
gonna
to
happen.
that.
Yeah, and then it's just like, no, it's not gonna happen, and you're just like, it's so devastating because you're just so excited for something and it's just not happening, and that's just really what our life is about, and it's just sad. It really is.
To be honest, I can feel you right away because I mean, one of my phobias, actually, one of my fears is the absence of movement, the absence of life. How to say? I mean, like, I really dislike Sundays a lot, and I really dislike August a lot, because nothing ever happens in August and nothing ever happens on Sundays. So I know that are important days because everybody is supposed to rest, and Sundays are designed for this. But to be honest, I just like working. I just like I cannot stop doing stuff. So this kind of forced state of stillness is just torture. But we don't give up.
No, we don't give up, and I feel you a lot on that. It's just like I just don't want to lose the movement I build up. Like, you work, you do, and then it feels like it's going into nothingness, and I don't
It's
like
awful.
that.
I
Yeah.
mean, thank God I can, like, I don't know, like, work out, play the piano, read, and watch like a lot of shows and movies. But like, I've already watched like 100 shows on Netflix. I don't know what to watch.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I can watch, but I miss social life too.
Yeah, and it's actually a quote from the Disaster Artist movie. There was like, because the film set of the room was really bad and stuff like that, and then there were like actors in when they had like break and they were talking, and one of the actors asked the other one, like, why do you do this? Like, why do you keep going here and like do this? You have a life. You could do so many other projects and or not do this project. And she was like, because I'm an actor, and for every actor, spending a day on set, even if it's the most awful day ever, is better than not being on a set. And it's just, for
Absolutely.
me, that's true. That's just like,
It's so true.
it's right that like that right away. Like, every day on set is better than every other day. So
It's heaven.
it's heaven. Yeah.
What's on your bucket list?
Lots of things.
Great answer. That's amazing.
I don't know, like, no, to be honest, on my bucket list, there's just the privilege to be able to keep doing what I love as a profession, and I've been extremely lucky so far, and I'm extremely grateful for this. So that's the number one of my bucket list, together with, of course, being healthy and surrounded by people I love. And also about this, I've been extremely lucky too, because I really can't complain. So this is what I ask, to be honest. I don't even want to be like a billionaire or stuff like that. I just want to keep doing what I love, and earning enough to make a decent living. This is for sure what I want to do. That's what that's what is on my bucket list. Yeah.
Yeah, the money part, it's really not about that. I really just want to do this for the rest of my life, just small, quiet, and just live this extraordinary life of becoming different people, because you normally don't get that. You have this one life and you're just yourself. But as an actor,
Absolutely.
you just get to be different humans and get to experience how would it have been if I would have been an orphan, or how would it have been if I wanted to be a professional swimmer or stuff like that. Like stuff that I don't really want in my life, but I can be someone that wants that and just experience how that feels. That's just so cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but on my bucket list for this year is definitely finishing the pitch for the series I wrote with concepted with a friend, and getting it out there, and maybe getting a production studio to pick it up. That would be very cool.
Break a leg.
I don't know if you can say, if you're allowed to say thank you to that.
That focus sunset is right.
There is some connection problem with Maria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
just
we
moving.
can see you again. Hi.
He's back.
I'll put some light on. Be back.
Yeah, it's
It
very
looks like
dark.
he's laying on the floor. It's like laying on the carpet.
We can see an icon right now of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where she's gone.
I'm trying to look in the chat, but the questions are all in Italian or French. I don't.
Yeah, so like someone is translating in French, or MC is translating, and a lot of questions, like a lot of things are in Italian, which we don't understand.
Rocco, do you joke?
Well, I'm supposed to understand Italian, and I do, but I can't really get access to the comments because I'm an oldie, and and tech is really something I don't master so well.
Do you have high chat on?
Yeah.
Do you have to?
Somebody is saying "si sente male," which means that they can't hear, but now they can hear, I guess. I love you guys. No worries. Dov'è Bugo? I don't know. Weird stuff.
Okay. Freaking Maria is back. She's back. The sound is
the microphone is off, Maria.
Yeah.
Now it's on.
So there's actually a question for Lukas. It's what was the deleted scene from episode 10 about?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. It was not specifically about something, which is probably the reason why it was deleted. It was more of a we didn't know if we would get season 4 when we filmed, so it was more like concluding storylines that we later on did not did differently in season 4. So yeah, it was just some non-canon stuff that just got out, and it was centered in the school, and they were just doing stuff there and having like and it didn't feel like a good scene as well while filming it, because it was less like characters coming in, doing something, and then leaving, and it just felt like that. It didn't really have a rhythm to it, which is why I'm like good with the decision of leaving it out.
There's a question for Rocco. Someone asked, who is your biggest inspiration in piano? Because he is mine, and I started learning piano in January thanks to him, someone said.
Oh, well, I like as performers, I really like Horowitz, especially Horowitz playing Rachmaninoff concerts, and also Pollini when it comes to Chopin. And if we're talking about composers, for sure, Chopin would be my #1 favorite, together with Rachmaninoff. And well, those two are my favorites for sure. And especially like to play, it's such a joy. Well, not really a joy, because Chopin is can be very, very sad, but it's somehow very fulfilling to play it, because it keeps your mind out of the quarantine dark thoughts, and it gives you like the possibility to enjoy whatever comes out of the piano through you. It's such a peculiar feeling, you know, to play an instrument. It's different from any other thing you do, of course. Like, it's very different from acting too. There are similarities, but you know, you get a different feeling.
Do you play piano professionally? I didn't know that.
Oh, well, I don't like, I graduated and al conservatorio, and so I play piano, but mostly for myself. And I'm quite shy, actually. I play mostly for myself and for some friends that want to hear my depressive music. Yeah,
No,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I just play piano for fun, but not in like, I can't read notes. So I learned it, but I stopped, and now I just like listen to stuff that I like and just try to play it and do it like that.
Makes sense.
But I agree with you. Then it's just really nice in quarantine to just sit down on the piano and just start playing and doing that for an hour.
It gives you a different perception of time. You know, it's cool for that reason, because you don't really get to wait there and what am I gonna do now? I cleaned the house twice. I could basically eat on the floor. What am I gonna do now? And you know, you just sit there and play, and somehow time passes by, and maybe it's dinner time if you're lucky when you're finished.
Yeah, sure.
So another question that we have is about conventions. So the question is, what is your favorite pose during convention photo shoots?
There are so many. Oh my God, like more than 1,000 different poses. You really get the craziest poses at conventions. I don't know which one would be my favorite. Maybe les gros galants avec Maxence. That was fun to do.
I don't think I have like a favorite. I like when people have an idea, because then sometimes I just feel like, okay, like I'm just standing there. But also, I don't know, I like hugs. Hugs are nice.
Hugs are nice. Everybody needs hugs.
Yeah, right, because everybody needs some hugs sometimes. So I like that.
Too bad we can't hug anybody right now. That's really bad. And but I'm quite hopeful that we're gonna go back to hug people, and because that's important. And I'm not even kidding. You know, hugging is really important. Like physical. This whole thing of the social distance is really like a tragedy, because you know, it psychologically it can be weird. It can play tricks on people, and it's not nice. People can feel lonely, and everybody needs contact. I mean, this social distancing bullshit, I hope it really ends very, very soon.
Yeah,
of course we need to keep that because it's important for our health now, but it's bad. It makes you feel quite bad.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, and it can be very damaging to a lot of people's mental health.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a bad time to be single right now. Like,
such a bad time to be single.
Yeah, but also a bad time to be in a relationship, because some people are having issues spending all day together, I get 24/7. But still, like, being single is like, it sucks.
A lot of couples like broke up because they were forced to
cohabitate. Are coming in. Yeah, it's a rough time for everybody.
It's a rough time, guys and girls.
Guys, girls, and non-binary pals.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the purpose of art, in particular acting, in the world? What do you think, guys? I think that's what she meant.
What
the purpose of acting?
No, of art, in particular acting.
So I think the purpose of art in general is being a mirror of society, while also having the opportunity to improve on it or critique it in different ways. and have a language that is more than just by vocal, like breaking language barriers. Someone who's French can look at a painting, and someone who's German can look at a painting and see the same thing, because it talks to you about in another language than it's just as we have in a vocal way. So that's, I think, what art for me is. And putting that on acting, it's showing people being showing different characters on the media screen that people can identify with, people can learn from, just seeing the different colors of the world and experiencing stories that can just maybe, even if you don't experience the same thing as the character in the story, you can take something out of it, or you can see yourself in a different way in it. So yeah, I think it's just connecting and sharing thoughts, ideas, and compassion for one another.
Well, this is a very, very interesting question, first of all, and I believe, and art is creatively expressing yourself. It's expressing yourself in a creative way, and anybody can be an artist. Of course, not everybody is maybe a recognized artist, but everybody makes art in their own way, because I believe you can actually be creative in so many ways, probably in infinite ways. And when it comes to acting, I believe that it allows you to step out of yourself. And by stepping out of yourself, because you are wearing somebody else's shoes, you are playing somebody who is different from you, who is not you. Because you're doing that, you actually have a chance to see yourself, to see who you really are, to understand who you are, which is not something that it's maybe taken for granted, but many of us don't know what we want or who we are for real, or we don't know how to control sometimes how we react to certain situations, because we don't know ourselves well enough. So I think that one of the most beautiful gifts that acting can give you is mindfulness and self-awareness. And it's a little bit like a double mechanism, because I think you need to be aware, and you need to know who you are deep inside, to be able to act in a free way. And at the same time, acting allows you to know yourself. So that's a beautiful process, and I think it's a process that can be mirrored in any sort of art. When you're making a painting, or even when you are cooking something for somebody else, you are using your skills in a creative way to make something new, and that tells you a lot about who you are and what you're trying to say. So it's probably the most powerful device we as humans get to experience.
Okay, so we have 3 questions.
Okay, move on. That's funny to me.
Moving on.
So this question is actually for Lucas. Is writing or acting harder for you, and why?
It's very different. So it has its own difficulties. But if I want to answer the question, I think at the moment, I think writing is harder, because I used to write literature, like write full-fledged stories, and now I developed to writing scripts. So it is a different process, and I kind of have to access to that, as well as acting. I did that since I was like 3 years old, like in church, doing church plays and stuff like that. So acting, and when I met with my friends, we would make a play and make up a story and then perform it. That was like the way I always was, and I always did stuff. And so acting was just something that's so infledged in who I am as a person, that it's, I guess, not as difficult as sitting down and saying, okay, I'm now gonna work on my writing and stuff like that. But it still is something that I have to work on. Like I still see things where I'm like, oh, I want to be better at that, or just be faster, or I learn more techniques, because acting is a craft. Like there's a lot to it. You can learn a lot of techniques that can help you in film or in theater, and there's so much to develop. You're not just, if you are talented, that's great, but you can't just stop there. There's so much more to do and so much more to explore with being an actor. So I definitely don't feel like I am a finished actor and writing is just something I have to learn now, but I feel more confident in acting than in writing at the moment.
I'm plugging my phone, sorry.
No problem.
Rocco
How do you do
flying on.
sorry. How do you deal with popularity? What shouldn't the fan do for you to feel comfortable?
What was the last part? Sorry.
What shouldn't the fan do for you to feel comfortable? I mean, I think it's like to not feel uncomfortable. What you shouldn't do for you to not feel uncomfortable? Can you hear me?
That's so the question was, what is that makes us uncomfortable?
I think it's basically what fans should stop doing.
No. What shouldn't the fan do for you to?
You were like breaking off, or your audio is not doing very well right now.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so it's, how do you feel with popularity, and what shouldn't the fan do for you to feel comfortable?
Okay, I got it. Well, you want to start?
I can, yeah. How do you feel with popularity? So I thought when I was younger that I would really enjoy being like having people recognize you and stuff like that, people appreciating you openly and having a big audience. But I learned that in the last year, I actually really like privacy and like still being a human to people, because some people very idolize you and stuff like that. And then you feel as if you do something wrong, or if you don't live up to the image that they build in their heads, you're going to disappoint and be, I don't know, we live in a cancel culture, so like be canceled or whatever. And it's filled a lot of pressure. I just felt a lot of pressure, and then I just like rolled back and said, okay, what do I want to do to make me happy? So for me, popularity, I don't mind it, and I am very happy to have people that are inspired by me, or are happy to follow me on my journey. But it just has to be something that I don't center my life around, or like that's just very important. And I think that goes like hand in hand with the other part of the question, like what makes you uncomfortable and like what could people do. I guess I think I can't like really ask anyone to do something, because in the end of the day, it's what I do and how I deal with it. I mean, I could just decide, okay, I'm going to delete my Instagram. That's like an option that's open to me. So I can't like ask people to not do something like when I'm on social media already. But for me, I think it's just like keeping some barriers up. Some people have been like writing my family and sending them letters and stuff like that, and I just don't appreciate it, because it just breaks a boundary that,
of course,
because I don't want my family to be in that kind of, well, because it's like not, I made the decision to act and to have this audience, but they didn't have a say in that, so I wouldn't want them to be affected by it negatively and have their privacy compromised. So that's just something that kind of, I don't know.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Well, popularity is a very tricky thing. It comes with a job sometimes, so you sort of prepare yourself for the eventuality of getting to a point where you're recognized in the streets, or you're asked for pictures, or you're asked for autographs and stuff. I guess, actually, I believe that it's important not to get intoxicated by that, because it's very common. It happens all the time, and it ruins not only like it's bad for the people who support you and who surround you, but it's bad in the first place for you, because you get intoxicated by an image and a thought of yourself, and you feel like you have always to catch up, you know. But that's impossible, because you know that image of yourself is something which is an abstraction, and it's something that somehow is not real. It's out there, but it's not real, you know. So I guess we have to feel like responsible about it, because popularity, it's something that can bring, of course, a lot of joy and happiness, but it's something that is a responsibility too, because when you're popular, any shit you say or anything you show or anything you do, it's mirrored and it's emulated, and people really do sometimes what you do, or believe in what you say. So there's a lot of people who count on you, and it's your responsibility, if you have something as powerful as popularity in any scale, it's your responsibility to use it well, I believe, to use it to improve, and not to damage, you know. I believe we have to be aware about that, because so many of, like, very often popularity comes out of a sudden and people really don't know what to do with it, and they screw it up sometimes. But I believe it's important to take it one step at a time, not being intoxicated, and feel responsible about it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to what people should do and what they shouldn't do, it's not my place to say that. But of course, as Lukas said, there are boundaries which would be nice not to be,
To be respected.
destroyed or whatever.
Yeah.
Stepped over and stuff like that.
And the final question is about conventions. What do you like about conventions, and what does it bring you as a person?
Well, what I really like about you start.
I start. Okay. Well, I personally like very much conventions, because when you are like, especially when you do work with camera and you don't do much of theater, you don't get the occasion and the possibility to have a direct feedback on your work, you know. Like, for example, when you do theater, the audience is there, so you do something and they react, and I think that's very beautiful and important. And when you do cinema, when you do TV, it's much later. The reaction is much later. It's something that stays there, and you don't get to be so close to the audience. And conventions, well, they allowed me personally to have a feedback of what I've done, to see with my own eyes what people think of my work. I think that's something beautiful that I couldn't experience before. And also to see with your own eyes how, the things that you have contributed to change. Because speaking personally, to see so many like little girls or people like crying sometimes, or thanking you for this portrayal, or for making them feel less alone, that changes you. It is one thing to read it on a message. It is completely another thing to see people there saying these things, and it's so overwhelming, and it changes you, I think, for good. So I'm a supporter of conventions.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's as you said, in theater, you have an audience, you have someone who gives you a direct reaction, and of course we have comments and messages, but it is different to have an actual human stand before you, looking you in the eyes,
Completely
and
different.
you help them. And it's just it's something that I guess people could think would be very like make you very, I don't know, like arrogant and stuff, that they like have so many people praise you or stuff like that, but it actually make me at least very humble, because I just could feel that I know at the end of the day I'm just one human of like so many, and I'm not special in like being away like, oh, I'm crazy to, I don't know, like I'm the best, I'm a doctor, like I save people's life and like make them, but actually have someone say you actually helped me or saved my life, that's
just the most beautiful thing ever.
that's so, I'm so thankful for that, to have people be so happy. I don't know how to describe it, but it just makes me very happy to know that actually my existence on this planet helped another person. And
Yes,
sometimes you just feel as if you don't have a purpose, or you're just kind of floating around, and that's
it's
just
true.
what I feel like gives purpose. It gives me the feeling of, even if it's just one person I helped someone, and that's just makes it all worth it. All the tears, all the times you doubt yourself and think, oh, this is not good enough, or I'm not doing the right thing right now. It's worth it, because someone in the end of the day is feeling like you helped them. That's just
Yeah,
amazing.
and it's amazing. And again, like also like a sense of responsibility. I mean, you get to experience that when you see all of those people just waiting for you and wanting to talk to you. I mean, you really feel that. You're like, okay, so I did something that made somehow the life of these little girls or these people who watched me better. And that's amazing, right? I mean, of course, it's not comparable to a doctor, of course, saving lives on an everyday routine,
Yeah,
but still, it's beautiful. I mean,
yeah.
uh, what would we do now without TV shows? I'm in quarantine. I mean,
Def-
I guess entertainment is very important too.
yeah, and I think it just shows me that everyone can help. Like, you don't have to become a doctor to save lives. You can just share your voice and show people that you were there and be open, because in the end of the day we are just like some weird people that were born a few years ago and are now in this position, but it could have been anyone, or still can be anyone. Like, if you feel as if you can want to do your part, like helping people, just spread awareness or be there if someone has like needs you, and it doesn't have to do with it being a big audience. Like, you don't feel this good as the feeling that we were describing just because it's like 20,000 people or something like that. It's the own individual
It's the
source.
process.
Yeah, and it can be just one person. Like, if you see someone struggling in your school or something, just talk to them and help them. You were doing so much, and it doesn't have to be the big thing. It doesn't have to be all those people. It's really enough if it's one person. And yeah, I just feel as if you can see how much just human connection and people coming together to experience something as a union can help, and just reliving that, because we can feel very separated at times in this life and between borders and everything, and especially SKAM that is so
Absolutely.
worldwide, just shows that we can all together be a supporting system for one another, and that
It's a
different cultures,
beautiful idea.
yeah, definitely.
What's cooking now?
What's cookie?
Yeah.
Well, it was the last question, so thank you so much for doing this. It was extremely interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you guys
thank
for
you.
having the idea. It's very, very sweet. Yeah,
Thank you so
See
much.
you soon,
It was
girls.
yeah.
yeah,
Fight this quarantine with positive vibes. Always.
yeah.
Let's
Everyone
try.
stay
Yeah.
positive. We can do this. We can survive this.
I
And
love
take care, be healthy.
Rocco, like you're the person who's been on quarantine the longest, but you're like the most positive of us. That's like,
Yeah.
It's been the longest, yeah. Well. Hopefully we didn't result boring to anybody.
No, I think that they
No,
yeah,
it was
they're
very
thanking
good.
you and saying that you're the best, guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
what's
you.
your
And
hat?
they're saying this was so fun. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
But thank you. Thanks a lot for doing this.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was very interesting also. So thank you.
Thank you very much.